Welcome to the Orange Flag Podcast. Nicole Hulkenberg Podium. That's the intro. I'm Aries.
I'm Austin.
I'm Nicole. I'm American, and it was July 4th,
Really?
Independence Day this past week.
Are we sure you're American?
So, I was paying attention to the July 4th posts, of course. Wasn't expecting one from Matt Campbell, where he looked like supremely American, like posing in front of a flag. Like, are you American, Matt? And like, Travis came up with this whole thing that we should do, where we celebrate other countries' Independence Days on the show, so I think we need to do that from now on.
Yeah.
You know what I just thought of that's really hilarious about this whole idea? Do you know when Brazilian Independence Day is?
I don't.
It's on the very day of the 6 hours of Coda.
Oh, nice! Oh. We will think about that when we're in Austin.
Yes, Nasser won't be there, but we'll think about Nasser. So do Australians just really like the 4th of July for some reason? Because Tom Sargent also posted about the 4th of July. Now, at least he gets the excuse of, like, he races here and lives here now, but, like, what's with Aussies and their obsession with July 4th? Australians in America, something's there.
They just want to be Americans.
Maybe.
And then Porsche did a July 4th post. They remembered the 6 exists, which, as we know, the white fin car does not often get shown on social media.
No.
It's always the black fin car. Is it because Tandy's British and it feels wrong to use a British guy's car to celebrate the 4th of July? Because I feel like that
cigars
might be why. Right. They used the IMSA cars. Like, it's the IMSA 6. It's not the WEC 6. It does feel wrong to use a British guy's car to celebrate American independence from Britain. So, it could be that. Also, 2/3 of the IMSA 6 are French, and France helped us win the war, so perhaps they are thanking Jam and Kevin for their contributions to American independence.
Yeah, they're like, there's 2 Frenchies, French helped in the war, and then also apparently Australians just really like the 4th of July, and then also all of their flags of these 3 drivers are red, white, and blue. It's the closest we're gonna get to an American flag because we don't have Dane Cameron anymore, so just throw this car in.
I was gonna say...
That's what it felt like.
It's the closest we're gonna get to the American flag because we don't have Dane Cameron anymore.
Well, that was the closest they got.
As our resident flag guy, I do like the red, white, and blue theory, but I also find it very hilarious about Australia because they still have a Union Jack on their flag.
True, they do. And they are part of the monarchy, but, that's besides the point.
Yeah, they still, I almost said the Queen, they still respect the King. We don't.
We don't.
That we don't.
Other Penske-related news, friend of the show, Jonathan Dugood's now the president of Penske Racing, so that's cool.
Yes.
Does this mean we need to, like, support Team Penske now? Like, can we stick with just, like, the PPM part of it? Or do we have to, like, buy Team Penske shirts now? Because I don't know that I can do that. Like,
I was gonna say, I think
I can put up with, like, Porsche Penske Motorsport because I'm, like, a massive Porsche fan. I don't know that I can bring myself to buy Team Penske gear.
I was gonna say, this feels like more silly data merch, because, like, we have the JD fan club. The JD fan club is not going to translate to us becoming Penske fans.
And JD has always been a Team Penske guy. It's not like he's a Porsche guy. He is a Penske guy. He is part of PPM because of Penske.
Yes.
So,
he's always just been like the outlier to the Penske stuff. Like, we've been like, you are the one guy that gets the pass.
I mean, I think everybody associated with PPM gets a pass. Yeah,
but like,
truthfully,
now of the guys, it's
yes. Now we're giving him. It's like we don't really like Team Penske. Giant asterisk, except the president.
Yeah, except
giant
the president.
Asterisk.
We really like the president of Team Penske.
I'm just saying, if me being a massive Chevy fan couldn't make me be like a Penske fan.
You're a big old Joey Logano fan.
No,
be
I'm
quiet.
not.
Yes,
no,
you are.
I'm not.
Yes,
That's
you are.
a lie. And also,
it's not a lie.
Also, Joey Logano doesn't drive Chevy. So
he drives for Penske.
Yeah, but I don't like Joey Logano.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Oh, this is gonna
You're
be
just
fun.
in denial, like I was in denial of. This is very ironic for me to say while wearing Kevin's merch. During all of 2023 and some of 2024, where I was like, yup, there's my favorite GT racer, but I cannot support him because he's driving for Penske.
Okay, but you have Kevin merch. You want to know what I don't have? Joey Logano merch.
I can correct this.
Please don't.
That sounded like a threat.
I will buy you Joey Logano merch and give it to you at Coda.
You're not getting your Dale shirt.
That sounded vaguely threatening. Like one day you just get home and there's this pile of Joey Logano merch there, with a little note saying "I told you."
Just gonna buy you a bunch of Joey Logano merch and bring it to Coda. Yeah, I do know where you live, so.
Oh dear.
But yes. Film review time!
Film review!
We are back to being your favorite film review podcast.
Yes.
Because WEC Full Access for Le Mans dropped today, unless you, have the app, in which case it dropped on Friday, because that's when I watched it. I didn't realize I was paying for the WEC app. Apparently I am. But cool, I was able to watch the fireworks and Full Access.
How do you not realize you're paying for something?
She's done this a lot.
Do you want to subscribe? And I say, yeah, free trial, and then I forget to unsubscribe.
I was gonna say...
I did that with my Aura ring.
I was gonna say she literally did this with her Aura ring.
It's $5 a month! I didn't notice it! I don't even know how much the WEC app is, but it was useful today, or not today, Friday.
Well, I mean, it worked out because we started using our Aura rings again, but...
Yes.
I just thought when you texted me, it was funny.
Film review.
In Quali, Hyperpole, was just... They cut to, Jensen Button for a decent portion of this, I felt like. And he's just, talking about Alex's pole lap, and he's like, just, you trust me. And then he's like, what did I say when Alex got pole?
Yes.
He was like, y'all should have listened to me. I knew all along.
The way that was edited made it look like Jensen was cheering against his own car.
Yes!
When I was watching it, I'm like, Jensen, you're not in that car! Why are you cheering against your car? Because I remember the fact that Earl's lap was after Alex's. So, it was very odd.
Also, obviously, the 6, was disqualified, so not taking part. And just all of them just were, straight up lounging, but who lounges with, their feet completely up in the air, AirPods in, completely blocking out the world? Apparently Matt Campbell does, but,
Matt
you do
seemed
you.
like he was paying attention.
No.
Kevin looked stressed, Larry looked stressed. Matt looked like he was listening to an audiobook or something.
Matt said AirPods in, blocking out the world.
Maybe he was, I don't know.
Matt, I think Matt uses AirPods instead of the big over-ear things, because in a lot of the garage shots, he has AirPods in. Hopefully his fit better than mine, because my AirPods don't like to stay in my ears. But, like, I think he, like, Bluetooths his car comms to his AirPods as opposed to using the over-ear things that everybody else uses.
Which, you know what? You do you, my dude. It just makes it look really funny. Like you're just blocking everyone out with your tiny little AirPods in.
Yes.
But, yeah. Also, crying Alex Lynn still makes me want to cry, and I would like to stop seeing it.
When they were showing the end of Alex's lap, and there was no question about whether the lap was legal for track limits, unlike somebody last year who, you know, may have gone wide and exceeded track limits even though it technically didn't because the lap was legal. Ignore that I'm wearing his merch, because I still am not 100% sure that I believe that lap counted, but Kevin, it's a joke, sort of.
Yeah,
we're going with it's a joke.
Yeah, well, that joke made an actual appearance later on. But anyway, sticking to the timeline, something that stuck out to me, the music they used for the sort of hyperpole ceremony on the podium. For some reason, it felt like Alex Lynn had just won the Hunger Games. I thought, what in the world is this music?
It was so dramatic.
It was. I don't know. I sort of expected, like, I don't know, some big state official ceremony of sorts about to happen, because that was extremely grand and dramatic.
Is he part of District 12?
We need to, at some point, assign Hunger Games districts to a select group of drivers that we like.
Yes.
Future podcast segment coming up here when nothing's going on. So that'll be fun.
Yes.
I am aware that Roger Federer is Swiss, right? And I know that Swiss people speak French.
Yes.
Why was it so jarring to hear him just chatting away in French? Like, I know that he speaks French. Why was it confusing to me?
Oh no, dude, I can't answer that question for you.
That's a good one.
And then I really liked Sheldon Van de Linde wanting to meet Roger Federer. It was so relatable. Like,
it was peak fanboy.
So excited about the fact that Federer was there and wanted to meet him. Sheldon, I too like meeting celebrities, so I feel you on that.
It wasn't just him, because, like, Alex and, like, the Jonah boys were also talking about it at one point, too. Like, they all were just talking about the fact that he was there. In some extent, it felt like.
The one thing we never got to know, though, did Sheldon meet him or not?
Yes.
Right? Like, we need to find this out.
We need to know.
It's very important.
Yes, it's very important information. They just cut to Matt and Kevin, and I was like, this is us content. But also, this felt like the most scripted content of the whole thing. It felt like Kevin was just doing an ad, being like, the grid is strong, and just rambling on about the grid and the size of the grid. And I was like, Kevin, it feels like you're doing an ad right now. And Matt's just there. It felt like the lubrication photos all over again, but this time, it's Kevin explaining how strong the grid is.
And then I guess to conclude what we have about the grid walk, this was just like a 2-3 second shot, but that stuck out to me. One of the guys in the Toyota team. Apparently, the guy is just so devoted to being a part of the team, and he had his hair sort of styled with a big GR just next to his ear in actual team colors. And I was like,
yes, he dyed his hair.
I was like,
that
that's
was
badass.
like a fan shot, not a team member. But if it was a team member, that's so much cooler.
I think it was. It looked like the person was like on the grid. It didn't look like he was on the stands. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I mean, they have an not an open grid walk. They have a ticketed grid walk.
Yeah.
So it could have been a fan, but I like the idea. I am keeping the headcanon that it was a team member.
Yes.
Because that's incredible.
Yes.
Like, my life is the team. I don't care. We win, we lose. This is my life now.
Yes.
I am Toyota. I live and breathe Toyota. That's what that guy said.
He named his first child Gazoo.
Gazoo.
I've got a whole cannon for this man.
This wins. What's the name of your child? Gazoo. Gazoo.
Not Kazoo. Gazoo.
Not Kazoo. Right.
No. Well, this
This is the most we've ever talked about Toyota on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna mention a kazoo meme that was circulating around the timeline last year. But anyway, yes.
That's why I said kazoo.
Oh, you remember that?
Yes.
And and they were really nailing the soundtrack, because not only the film production used some very good music, but the music they were using at the track, apparently, for the big, like, pre-race shots and stuff, curiously, it was a song I had heard once in a Le Mans highlight montage, and I feel like the event organizers just decided, oh, this sounds epic, let's use it.
Yes.
I love that. Fun fact, I love that song, by the way, and I associate it with Le Mans, and I felt so satisfied that they decided to use it.
Aries was like, I feel seen right now, y'all.
Yes. And if you're well, I should probably mention the name of the song. That's Road Game by Kavinsky.
Not an ad, but go listen to the song. I think we all know what I was waiting for in watching this film.
Really? Do we?
Shocking to nobody. The Kevin Estre passing masterclass that was the first hour of that race, which the film delivered because they did, an amazing montage of Kevin, going from last in class to not last in class. They were just like going through all of the passes, and at one point the race engineer was like, you're too fast, I cannot follow which car you're passing, basically. And that was just great, because, like, it was hard for me to keep up with where Kevin was in the field half the time, but it's just that the in-car of that, I could just watch that, like, on repeat. Someone needs to make lots of TikToks about that and post them so I don't see Nürburgring TikToks every time I go on TikTok.
I will say,
my entire TikTok is two things: ASMR videos and Kevin at the Nürburgring.
I've been getting a lot of sad Nürburgring content.
Yeah, recently. I don't want any more sad Kevin at the Nürburgring videos.
And it's like, it's not TikTok. Just on TikTok. It's like, I'll open my Instagram, and it's also on my Instagram. And I'm like,
it's been 2 weeks. Why are we still going on about
it?
Yes. But I will say another thing was, like, the clips they were, like, breaking to during Kevin's, masterclass, where it's just, like, they break to Jam and Tandy talking about Kevin's slipstream. And the faces they were making during that clip were great. And then it gets to the part where Kevin has to pass the 36. And they're, like, talking about good old Freddie. And I'm like, please stop making me sad.
That was great, actually. I love how that happened on the very day when some piece of news was floating around, apparently saying he prefers to drive the Alpine rather than the Porsche.
I mean, he's been saying that since the first time he drove the Alpine.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like the 963 is a pleasant car.
No.
Scott McLaughlin said that. Fred has said that. I just have a feeling that it's not a nice car to drive based on what drivers have said.
One of his first comments when he moved over to Alpine was just like how much better the car felt to drive. So I'm not
Which makes
surprised.
me wonder who did they use to develop the 963 for it to be so awful for everybody? Like, which one of the guys enjoys driving the 963?
We'll have to ask them.
We will ask them. While we're asking Tandy which Porsche he likes better, we will also ask, does anyone like driving the 963?
963, yeah.
I don't even know what this note is. It says, Kevin, take the damn straw out of your mouth while you're talking.
It was after his stint. He's, like, giving his, like, debrief, I guess you could call it, to, like, the race engineer, I believe. And his, like, straw from his drink, beverage, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Bottle.
Yes, bottle. Sorry. Words are hard, y'all. English is hard sometimes, okay?
I feel like when we started this podcast, I did not expect Kevin Estre's drinking vessels to be, like, a topic we covered more than once. And we have, in fact, covered this topic twice now.
Yes, but that's what it was, I believe, was like...
Twice in 3 weeks?
Yeah, twice in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Impressive.
It is.
Yeah.
I need to do better notes so I remember context and I'm not just yelling at Kevin in the notes.
I mean, before we started recording, we kind of went through this. Like, next time we're going to use timestamps.
Yeah.
Yes, we are going to use timestamps next time, because trying to put this in chronological order when the three of us watched this at 3 different times was a mess, but I think we did okay.
No, it's good. It's organized.
I was the last one to watch, and so, like, as I was watching, I was, like, trying to, like, piece them together, but then there were things where I was like, this could have been in relation to, like, this thing, or this thing, so...
Yeah, my notes are not the most helpful, like, Kevin, take the damn straw out of your mouth while you're talking, and Mark Webber, hi! Like, there's no context clues for either of those. I'm just speaking.
I was assuming the Mark Webber hi was when he just randomly showed up talking to Julian.
Yes,
that's
exactly what it was.
So that's why I put it where I did.
That was so random. Like, you know when there's a sitcom and a random celebrity or a random character appears for like 3 seconds, that's exactly how Mark's appearance felt like. I thought, hey,
Mark always
Webber
goes to Le Mans. Like, he is always there and always there with Porsche. It's not surprising, but...
It was just the way he just, like, appeared, it felt like.
Right, and they didn't even, like, tell us he was there.
Oh,
like,
no.
Could put my Mark Webber hat on if I knew where it was. I have, like, an old Mark Webber Red Bull hat, somewhere. But it's not in my pile of current sports car hats, so...
He just
somewhere else. I would have to. He just went
like it was just like hi, and then we'll never see him again.
Yeah,
I
right.
was just like, oh, hi, Mark.
It was like that. It was like that meme we all see from time to time. Like, we're sitting and watching, and then we're like, and then he just vanished.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. The other thing that happened in this time frame was them showing Jam getting into the car, and I constantly forget that this man wears glasses when he drives, because every time they cut to this man driving and he has glasses on, I'm like, oh yeah, Jam does wear glasses.
When he drives.
Yeah,
because
when
like,
he
I
drives.
have never seen him with glasses on out of the car. Jam, why don't you wear your glasses out of the car? We're curious about this. Wear your glasses.
Yeah. But then mine are his sunglasses prescription? Does he wear contacts out of the car, maybe?
They may be glare-reducing glasses, honestly.
Maybe.
like, I know there are drivers that do that, so
Jam,
that
tell
could
us.
be why. Yes, Jam, we want to know. We'll ask you at Coda or Petit. So, poor boys and their questions they're going to get from us at Coda and or Petit.
We're sorry, we have a lot of questions. You guys do some very odd things.
Odd things, random questions. And, stuff that went on in the nighttime. I guess we all go on about Ferrari GT terrorism from time to time, and that's
We
usually
do.
an AF Corsa run car. And we know how it's been for the Ferrari hypercars this year, because, well, for obvious reasons. And but I guess the AF Corsa LMP2 team was also pissing people off because the VDS Hannes people were talking about Matthew Vaxiviere and how apparently he was
Vaccine!
yeah, Matt Vaccine, and how he was apparently was costing them time because Olivier Panis was not happy. He was gonna say, I'm gonna break their whole garage down or something.
Yes, which, if you have been listening to the podcast, you know I'm a Matt Vaxiviere fan. I support his wrongs and his rights, so I don't care.
It's like calling him Matt Vaccine because of that one comment on that one YouTube stream, and he will be Matt Vaccine forever.
I love how that stuck.
It really did.
The thing is, it didn't stick anywhere but with me.
Yes.
Like,
it stuck
I have
with, like,
not seen
our group.
Anybody calling him Matt Vaccine. It's like us and the WEC chat.
Yeah, it's our little group.
It's like our little inside joke, but like every single time he's mentioned somewhere, I'm like, oh, Matt Vaccine.
Yes.
Robert
Kubica's ongoing hatred for the red Ferraris this season is so impressive. He is just, like, raging about every single film. He has been raging about the red Ferraris.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? Me and you both, my dude. Me and you both.
I mean, when you're being told one thing on the radio, and then I love the way this was done. They were telling him X on the radio, and then the red cars were getting another bit of information that's completely the opposite of what he's being told. Then you're like, yeah, all the reason to you, Robert.
Yes.
It did feel like we're gonna get a prancing horse civil war at some point.
It's going to come to a head at some point.
Oh, 100%.
One of those cars eventually will refuse to give way, and two cars will crash. Like, it's going to happen. Whether it's the yellow car not letting the red one through, or one of the red ones not letting the yellow one through, like, it's going to happen at some point this season.
It's only a matter of time.
It really is.
Yeah. Another thing was they, like, talked about the emergency service for Joda because of the fuel, and they cut to, like, Seb Bourdais, and he was very upset about his emergency service, and was just going off about it for a while. And you know what? Go off, Seb.
And you know who was going off about that was Kevin Estre's younger brother.
Yes!
That whole, like, random scene of Kevin with his family was just quite amazing, but Kevin's brother was so mad that, like, Seb got a penalty for driving through the grass, and the Ferrari that spun and had to drive through the grass didn't get a penalty. Like, so I guess if you're unaware, Kevin's younger brother also races, so he, like, can speak knowledgeably on racing.
Yes.
His analysis of what's going on was incredible.
It was amazing. Kevin, your brother is iconic. I need more commentary from your brother. Okay, that is all. It was so good. It was like my favorite part of the whole film.
Did actually tell you, I'm like, wait until you get near the end where Kevin's with his family, because you will like this part, I promise.
And boy, did I. I literally messaged you, like, right as I got to it, and I was like, Kevin's brother, iconic.
Yes, you did.
So, yeah. From there, it was just like the rest of the race. I've determined when it comes to during the race, Matt Campbell only sits on countertops, apparently. That's odd. There were literally chairs right there. You don't need a countertop. But you do
the chairs
you.
remind him of the car, and the countertop is a different experience.
I don't know.
Interesting theory.
His seat insert for GT is a square. Maybe that reminds him of his seat insert for GT because the counter's also a square.
Maybe. And then I guess to wrap up the film review, didn't need to see that pre-podium room scene.
Nope.
Just didn't need to see that at all. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm pretending they were happy about the P2, and that just reminded me that they were not, in fact, happy about the P2. They were not at all.
Definitely not. Especially Kevin.
Yeah, especially. Kevin did absolutely everything there was to be done to try and win that race. Like, you can only do so much when the cards are so openly stacked against you.
Try telling that to Kevin in this pre-podium room scene, because
I'll make this a clip so we can tell it to Kevin.
Where we were on about track limits earlier, and I said we're going to come back to it later. Well, this is the moment. Like one of the, I think was one of the Ferrari guys when like, yeah, maybe two track limits, two less track limit offenses or something, and he would have gotten them. I thought, oh dear, this is so on brand.
Yeah, Kevin was like right on the edge of. I mean, the whole car was. I think Kevin took over the car with some track limits on it. I don't think all 10 of those were Kevin. But, yeah, when you're driving a car to somewhere it shouldn't be, you're gonna go over the limit a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Well, he won the Spa 24 with Lamborghini, and now this week, I think it was his first win in DTM. I thought he'd won before.
It was.
I thought he'd won before, but my mind is just mush at whatever this time at night, so forgive me for that. But yeah, it was Jordan Pepper winning for the first time, and I think he couldn't have picked out a better place to do that, honestly, because the Norris Ring is the staple in the DTM calendar. Just gonna say though, I love how a very simple layout, a very, very simple street circuit is the staple in the DTM calendar. There's something about it that I just love.
It just works well with those cars. Like, the GT cars just work really well on that sort of a circuit. And it's exciting, it's a short lap, it's, it's fun to watch. What hasn't been super fun to watch is and this is ironic because they lead the team's championship standings, but the inconsistency of Manti this year, is kind of the discussion that I've had a bunch about Ganassi last year in IndyCar. Like, are they stretching themselves too thin by fielding this extra car? I think it's really cool that they're running the 92 as the junior team for more assuring and everything, but it just feels like they're struggling on any given weekend to optimize two cars. It's either Guven absolutely going off and Preining struggling, or, as it was this weekend, Preining absolutely going off and Guven struggling. And then Morris is young, he's new, he's performing where I expected him to. This is nothing against him. It's more about the fact that I don't see a reason for Chan and Thomas to be as inconsistent as they are. Because those are not inconsistent guys. Those are, like, really, really good GT drivers. You know, but I was really happy that Thomas won this weekend because, again, sad Nürburgring content has been all over my timeline. And it's not just Kevin, it's also sad Thomas content.
I feel like for me, it's been almost more Thomas content.
See, I think that my timeline knows that I like Kevin, so I've been getting more sad Kevin content.
All I can say about this is something's wrong when you hear the words manti and inconsistent in the same sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that it's something that they'll work through and not struggle as much with as they settle into this 3-car thing. If they do the 3-car thing next year, I don't think they'll struggle as much.
Yeah, it's an adjustment. But going from one team that's kind of struggling right now to another team that's kind of struggling right now, Penske and IndyCar is struggling, and it's led to a lot of conversations around Josef Newgarden and his refusal to talk to the media, and everyone seems to have an opinion on it.
And nobody seems to, like, pay attention to what the rules are. Impromptu pit lane, or paddock interviews with, like, official media are not required past the 5th place finisher, and I think they're only required in the first 2 rows for qualifying. So Josef has been refusing after his DNFs. He's still doing the media pen, which he is required to do. Everyone is required to do the media pen. This just feels like fans growing entitled with driver access. They want, to be able to hear every thought that Josef Newgarden has. And I think that, so the fact that, and I tweeted this, and for some reason, like 6,000 people have seen this tweet. The fact that Roger Penske is not punishing Josef for doing this makes me think that it's actually a team strategy, right? Because what's more Penske perfect? Josef going off and being like, this car's terrible, I can't do anything, I'm so sick of everything, or Josef politely walking away. It's not like he's saying, screw you, I'm not talking to you. He's just walking away back to his garage. Which one's more Penske perfect to you? Because I think it's him walking away.
Yeah. I think for me, it feels like the reason there is so much uproar about this is, despite the fact that it's not a rule, people have created this expectation that doing media of any sort is an expectation. And because with the way the Fox ads have been this year of Palou, Josef, Pato, it's created this idea that he is one of the guys of the sport, the face of the sport of, like, those 3 guys. And so we have, like, people are thinking it's now a requirement for him to do any sort of interview because of that, when it's not. What I'm going to say is it's fair game to decline talking to media. In my opinion, it's fair game for people to be upset about that and voice their opinions as well, but not to some of the extreme levels that people are taking it to.
My issue is not the fans complaining about it, because fans are going to complain about stuff, like, obviously. My issue is, like, Fox has been, like, the broadcast has been complaining about it, and, like, almost, it feels, and this is going to be hilarious to people, I feel bad for Penske, because Fox and IndyCar have been just, like, it feels like using them as the butt of a joke all season.
Somebody clip that.
I feel like every race it's like, another bad race for Penske, ha ha ha, and it's like, it's getting, like, to the point where it feels like bullying. Like, why is the series bullying Team Penske? Like, yes, they're having a bad season. They're having a historically bad season, but I can't remember the series and the official broadcast partner ever bullying a team like this.
I'm just gonna be honest. It's a Fox thing. Like, they've done it in, like, NASCAR. It's not a surprise to me that they're now doing it in IndyCar, too.
I don't know. It feels weird. And then, I guess still about Josef. Travis wants to name the future dog after Josef, and he asked that I talk about this on the podcast so I can make it a clip and tag Josef and Larry. Because I thought we had already decided that we were naming the dog Larry Dog, because Larry liked the tweet about naming the dog Larry Dog. So, Josef, if you want us to name our future dog Josef Newgarden instead of Lawrence Vantor, please interact with this clip. Thank you. That was a specific request from Travis. He doesn't often take interest in, like, the ins and outs of the podcast, so if he does still want to roast France. He's supposedly writing a roast of France, which I think is actually just a roast of Kevin. As if we don't do that enough.
We can't
I told him that
France.
I could bring him to Coda, and he could roast Kevin to his face.
Wait. I need to see that. I need that. Travis, you gotta come.
Travis said he's probably going to be working weekends by then, because his schedule is going to change. Right now he's got weekends off, but by September he probably won't have weekends off anymore. But yes, Travis wants to roast France and or Kevin. And then obviously I did my costume change. Don't think we were getting out of the IndyCar segment without me mentioning Scott Dixon's streak of winning at least one race in a season, and the fact that it is A, older than Kiffin Simpson, and B, old enough to buy a beer in the United States. Like, well done, Scott. Obviously, I think we know, maybe we don't know, because I talk about Kevin a lot. Scott Dixon is my favorite driver. Like, Fernando Alonso is my favorite driver, but Scott Dixon is my favorite driver in IndyCar, and is probably my second favorite IMSA driver.
Probably.
Maybe.
That's
I don't know.
debatable.
It's debatable.
It's debatable.
I'm just saying, he drove one of the best stints I have ever seen driven at Petit last year.
Here we go.
Like, that was unreal. Yeah, I think if anybody wants to know, like, who my favorite IMSA drivers are,
just come to an IMSA race.
Recall Petit.
Mine is also, the fact is, at Petit, Scott gets in the car, we're both like, it's Scott,
well,
it's not
Scott's
gonna
be... maintain a lap down. Scott doesn't pass people.
Scott doesn't pass people, it's just gonna be a normal
and
Scott
Scott
stint.
Gets a dang lap back.
Yeah.
He passes everybody, gets a lap back.
And we're like,
who is this?
Are we sure Scott is in the car? Like,
right.
Which we were sure because we saw him get in the car.
We did. We watched the driver change.
Yes.
With him getting in the car. Okay, tiny Scott.
Hey.
But
so we knew he was in the car, but it was enough for us to be like, were we seeing things?
Yeah, anybody that remembers at or post Petit last year definitely knows my favorite IMSA drivers.
Yes,
and that I very much was very excited about the 01 and its getting around the 6. Sorry, Kevin. But I will say that car has been broken up. Ganassi is no longer in the series, and I have been adopted by a new team. Do we need to go through my, large assortment of PPM things? I do have a Cadillac hat, though.
Yes, yeah.
Ganassi stuff. But, yeah.
As she says, well, she's also wearing a Ganassi hat.
Yeah, but this is IndyCar.
I'm just saying it's still Ganassi.
It is still Ganassi, but they're not in IMSA or WEC anymore, so yeah.
Okay.
Onward to F1 because they had a race this weekend.
That they did, in case nobody heard it, and in case you didn't hear the intro for some reason and blocked it out, Nico Hulkenberg got a podium, and boy did the podium celebration feel like it somehow became a big talking point about champagne spraying, and people are creating these expectations of what they want podiums to be and what they want drivers to do, and we need to just accept that what you want isn't always what you're going to get, because the guys aren't just going to change who they are to please you. Lando and Oscar are not going to change the way they celebrate on podiums just because you want this grand podium celebration because it was Nico's first podium.
Nico also, barely engaged with Lando and Oscar. He pretty much immediately went over to the edge of the stage and sprayed down on his team. He probably didn't even register that he didn't get sprayed. It's not like he was standing there looking at Oscar and Lando and getting ignored. He went over to celebrate with his team. And it really felt like Nico didn't know what to do at all with top 3 protocols. He seemed like he didn't really know what to do on the podium. He definitely didn't know what to do with the cooldown room because Lando had to bring his helmet into the cooldown room for him.
Yeah.
So,
and then he was like, "Oh, I was supposed to bring that?"
I just think that yes, there is a spectacle to a podium. That is the point of a podium, but I don't know. I think people are just expecting Oscar and Lando to ignore their own races, the fact that they came in 1-2, the fact that it was Lando's home win, the fact that Oscar had a penalty just to celebrate a driver from another team that I don't think either of them are particularly close with. People are comparing this to the difference between Max and George when Kimi Antonelli got his first podium. George is Kimi's teammate. Of course there was going to be a celebration there. The whole thing's just stupid.
If you want to talk about also first podiums that had similar feels to this one, Oscar's first win. Go look at that podium.
Lando literally didn't spray Oscar but for half a second. So this isn't an uncommon or unseen thing for the McLaren guys. Just realize that that's who they are, because you're going to be seeing them on the podium a lot in the future.
Yes.
And there's going to probably be a lot of people getting their first podium with the two of them. Maybe realize that this is the norm, not the outlier.
Yes, and if you're really so worried that Nico didn't get sprayed with champagne, don't worry. His team got that covered with the help of Aston Martin and Mercedes, because apparently Salbert doesn't have champagne, or at least apparently only has 2 bottles of champagne. So don't worry, though. He did eventually get the celebration you all wanted him to have. And I think just for a quick talking point, NASCAR happened this weekend as well. Something I've never seen happen before happened during this NASCAR race, and I have never seen a caution have to come out so that an ambulance can get onto the track to get to a spectator. That was a new one for me. Probably because, this is a street circuit, but still, never had to see a caution thrown out for that purpose before, so interesting.
Yeah, I work security at Texas Motor Speedway, and they have, medical emergencies in the stands all the time, and that's never, impacted the race before. So when I saw that that's what because initially it was, a caution for a medical emergency, and it was oh crap, did something happen to a pit crew member? And then they were for a spectator. I'm that is something I've never heard of before.
Yeah, it was a very new one. And even the broadcast was slightly confused about it too, because we all were are we reading this correctly? Never thought I'd see that one before. And Now it's time
for a
my
costume
hat
change. You didn't have a hat on. You just put a hat on. I'm doing a costume change, though. Boo.
I am as well. I have a hat on now of apparently a dead team. If you're not watching the video version, we're wearing our Formula E hats, and this is because apparently Neom McLaren is dead. Like, we thought they were gonna get, like, bought out. Apparently they're not getting bought out. The grid is just losing a team. Completely. And Taylor Barnard, the, like, very young up-and-coming talent that I feel like everyone knows now when they think about, like, Neom McLaren. If you follow Formula E, you think about Taylor Barnard. He has signed a multi-year deal with Penske. Whether that means he gets to race next season, that's still up in the air.
There's a whole bunch of reasons, I guess, that he may not get to race. Like, first off, Jean-Eric Vergne has not confirmed he's leaving DS Penske, or I guess just potentially Penske next year, because they, like, might be partnering with a different team. But, like, he may stay with the team. Like, he hasn't fully there's been rumors out there, but he has not indicated that he is leaving that team yet. There also may be some issues with Taylor being just in an umbrella McLaren contract that might keep him from racing next year. So that'll be interesting to see. I think Taylor and Max Günther would be an exciting lineup.
It would. I think it would get me cheering for. I was just about to say DS Penske, but Penske in Formula E.
It's also especially, like, exciting when you think of Max's, like, start with that team. Of it's kind of similar to what Taylor has right now, of, like, he signed a multi-year contract with Penske, or, like, the equivalent at the time, and that's, like, how he's made his way through FE. So, like, now kind of a very similar situation for Taylor. So will be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this was, even if he doesn't get to race next year, this was the best option for Taylor, because there don't seem to be seats. I mean, people are going to lose seats next year. Like, the prevailing opinion is that it's going to be Antonio Felix da Costa and Sam Bird losing their seats, and that both of them will end up full-time in sports cars.
Yeah, so, which is unfortunate, because I do like Sam Bird, and, like, it's unfortunate that we're losing those two as teammates, because, like, their dynamic has been great.
Yeah.
But also, Sam has kind of been throwing hints, it feels like, that he's been wanting to make a comeback to sports cars. So, not
and
surprised.
Who knows? I mean, that people are saying the new McLaren hypercar program, but it also could be filling one of the United Autosport GT seats that are getting vacated, when inevitably some of those guys end up in the hypercar.
Yeah.
I mean, GT, honestly, for Sam right now makes more sense to me. I just think that jump, obviously there are guys that do, a significant number of guys that do FE and hypercar and do quite well in both.
Yes.
But he has never driven that, like, level of car.
Yeah.
Like, his sports car stuff is predominantly GTE stuff. So it, to me, makes more sense for him to potentially go to the United Autosports GT team.
Yeah. It's gonna be just very interesting to see how this all plays out. But it definitely wasn't something I, like, saw coming, because we pretty much, it felt like it seemed like had it confirmed that like somebody, it seemed like, was ready to buy the team, and then now it's not. So yeah, London is the last time we will have this team.
I think it's a bit ironic. The moment F1 goes to 11 teams and 22 cars, that's when Formula E goes from 11 to 10 teams. So much for having equal sizes at some point in their history.
I mean, it's also because McLaren literally has said, like, they had to look at their whole catalog of how many series they're in and dwindle it down. So
yeah. Thanks for listening. You can find us on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at Orange Flag Pod. On Twitter, Nicole is at Nicole on Racing, Austin is at Hendrik Claren, and Aries is at Aries_Alpenglow. Stay orange.